What's up, everybody? We're back again. It's the Dad Bod Golf Pod. We got Kyle, Nate, Ben, and a very special guest, former Auburn golfer and tour pro, Wells Padgett. What's up, Wells? How's it going, man?
Hey guys, going good. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to sharing some fun stories and just talking about some golf and all that stuff.
Throw all that loyalty stuff out. When we ask you to tell stories, throw all the loyalty stuff out. Yep. Nobody is safe. All right.
We need dirt.
Nobody's been safe thus far. In
dirt
all
on everybody.
I can't get any more punishment workouts anymore. So
that's right. That's right.
It's like, all right, I gotta go ahead. I just gotta say, I don't like talking about. We're from Auburn. I don't like to talk about an Auburn podcast, but you're free now. So this is kind of like the surface where Nick Saban likes to tell these nuts jokes. You're free now. You're free now. Like
you're free now to throw everybody.
You can say whatever you want to say. So it's kind of like that.
Within reason, we can't hurt recruiting. We don't want to get that phone call either from Nick before it's all said and done with.
That's awesome.
Don't need that. No.
That's awesome. So Wells, we've interviewed a couple of your old teammates and things like that. And we always ask them because we're always curious. We started playing golf. I didn't start playing golf until after college. And I don't know much about, I think Ben was kind of the same sort of story. And Nate's played for,
college what turned me on to it. Because I found out you could take golf in college
as a class.
And then at the same time that I was in the golf class, they opened up Moore's Mill. And there was no initiation fee. And for $120 a month, you could play unlimited golf with a cart.
That's sick.
What was that, like 1972?
That also is at the same time that my parents were on the phone with me every night wondering what the hell was going on with my grades, because they were wondering what all was happening there, because 18 holes to 36 holes a day, there wasn't a lot of class happening at any of that whatsoever.
So when did you kind of get the bug, get the itch, and how did that whole process go from like you growing up to getting to Auburn?
Yeah. So, golf's always kind of been in my family, my mom's side, especially. Like my uncle, he was a really good golfer when he was growing up, and he's won some club championships. But mostly just my parents, they bought a house on this golf course at Reflection Ridge in Wichita, Kansas. And just growing up on that golf course, I was going out with my dad after he got home from work and just was looking for golf balls in the weeds and stuff. And eventually I would just be out there a lot more with a bunch of my buddies. When I was around 9 to 10 is whenever I started getting the bug, you'd say. Started playing tournaments and stuff like that, and started noticing I was pretty good, pretty fast. And it just kind of, just when you see improvement like that, it really makes you want to keep practicing, getting better and better. It's really fun. So that's sort of how I started out.
Yeah. How old were you when you beat your dad for the first time?
Ooh.
Oh man. I don't even I was probably around 11 years old.
Nice.
Whoa.
Yeah. Around that age.
It's like
now
17.
Is your dad pretty good? Is your dad a single digit handicap?
Yeah. So right now I'd say he's probably an 8 to 10 handicap.
Sorry, that's fine.
Sorry, it's not the first time.
It's not the first time. Just
So he's an 8 to 10 handicap right now, but he could definitely, if he started playing more, he could definitely lower that a little bit. So
man, so that's a pride thing right there at 11. When your 11-year-old just waxes you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute now. Was this from the same tees?
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah. I was playing.
He said,
I was playing the same tees.
Nice.
I started playing the men's tees at a very early age, and I found that helped me out a lot.
It's kind of odd. Nate still hadn't played the men's tees.
One day.
Give me a second. I'm gonna let this dog out real quick.
Okay. All right. Well,
I think they wonder.
This is the first time.
This is a first.
I love it.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, if anybody was wondering, I got into golf when I was like a very young age and didn't really improve much at all. And anyway,
that's how it goes, Nate. I'm sorry, man.
So, like I said, we were talking about. You said you beat your dad when you were 11. Your first time when you were 11. One thing that I've never really. Did you play much junior golf? Did you play a lot of junior golf tournaments, things like that, growing up?
Yeah. So now it's called Central Golf Links for Kansas, but it used to be called Kansas Golf Association, KGA, KJGA. So I did a lot of that. growing up. Kind of younger. I didn't get into AJGA until I was about like 15 years old, so I was pretty late to that. And especially being in Kansas, like traveling to those tournaments is expensive, and when you're that young, your parents are probably like, "Hey, like, is this like that serious? Do we need to be doing this?" But
Yeah.
yeah. So
What
playing
is
small stuff like that early on was kind of big.
what is golf? What is golf like in Kansas? Is it? I mean, what are golf
The
courses
year
like
round?
in Kansas? It can't be year round. No,
Oh,
it's cold. So
it's
cold.
not year round. I'd say you can golf until probably November, and then once kind of December, January comes around, you don't have until I don't know, probably about March. So you have about 3-4 months off where it's kind of hit or miss whether you can play or not.
Is it a lot of link style stuff? Like, what is it? It just seems like there's not, the terrain would be really flat and not a whole lot going on.
You'd think that, but then you come to these courses, and mostly like eastern Kansas, when you get into northeast Kansas, it's very undulated and hilly, and you'll find courses that you have elevation changes of 10 to 20 yards in some areas. But yeah, there's a lot of link style courses when you head west into Kansas as well. But I mean, the wind here, it just blows all the time. So you find a lot of Kansas guys coming out of high school, they play big healthy draws. So that's kind of how I came into Auburn. I was hitting really big draws because you got to get it through that wind all the time. So it's kind of a Kansas deal.
How did you, well, we'll get there because AU club's not really a draw course. So you probably had to learn a few more shots. I guess, I don't know. You could still get around.
There's a couple draws.
But
hey,
so
I found if you're consistent enough, you can get around anywhere.
yeah, there you go.
That's right.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So talk about, you're from Wichita, Kansas. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how does a guy from Wichita, Kansas end up at Auburn, Alabama?
Exactly.
Okay. So when I was about 13 to 14 years old, I started getting into tournaments outside of Kansas, started traveling a little bit. And the tour I started playing was OJGT, which is an Oklahoma tour. And they get guys from Texas and Arkansas coming in. So you get guys that are going to Arkansas, Oklahoma State, and OU commits and stuff like that. So you're playing against really good competition. And when I was around 15 or 16, I shot 61 in tournament and won. I shot 70, 61. And that kind of catches some coaches' eyes whenever they see a 61 in a tournament. So that really helped me out, just being able to go low. I was honestly on 59 watch in that backside, and it was pretty nerve-wracking, but I was just glad I won the tournament. That's what you're there for. So, but yeah, and then that kind of catapulted me. I won an AJGA after that, and then I won the Big I now. So I kind of got really good at the end of my high school career, and that's whenever colleges like Texas, Oklahoma State, and Auburn started calling and sending emails and messages.
So Texas was, a pretty big deal. Texas obviously has always been a really big deal in the golf world. They had that run with, you had Spieth and was it Kramer and Hickok who got, had a big playoff this year. That was a pretty solid team. So like,
Hostler that came out of there.
Yeah. What pushed Auburn, over the edge? Like, how did you end up, they said Joe said they sent him a Twitter DM, and that's kind of how that started. So how did it work with you? How did you end up at Auburn versus some of these other, closer golf powerhouses, I guess?
Well, I'll tell you what, Auburn, like Coach Leonard and Corey, they did an amazing job recruiting. Like I was getting handwritten letters like once every week. I'd say twice, 3 times a month at least. Wow. And that's just pretty cool from my perspective. I'm just like, oh, they care to do that. It's kind of pretty cool. And then, I took a visit to Auburn, and that was the first SEC school and the only SEC school I really looked at because I was kind of looking more Big 12, just because of my location where I live.
Right.
And I just loved everything about it. And they checked the box on everything, and I just fell in love at first sight. And it also helped that my unofficial visit was the Kentucky basketball game. And like, we weren't really a legit like basketball team, and we beat them. That was in like 2016.
Yeah. When we stormed the court.
Yeah. when we stormed the court, I'm like, well, I have to go here now, right?
Yeah.
So I committed about a week and a half later.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Awesome. So you get to Auburn. Your first year would be, I guess, if you went to the basketball game in 2016, your first year at Auburn would have been 2017, right? Is that?
Yeah.
All of 16.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 2017.
Nice. So you get here, and y'all have some success really early. 2018 was a very, very special season. And talk about that season and like when y'all kind of knew you had something special, because y'all went pretty deep in the NCAA tournament, won the SEC championship. Talk about how, I guess maybe go back to your freshman year. Like, what point did you kind of know you had something special, and when did it kind of all start clicking and things like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, going into my freshman year, I wasn't sure like how much I was going to play. Like, to be honest, I was like, I know Auburn's really good. Like, they're number one in the country in golf one of the years before when I was committing. So I was like, I might not play. I'm okay with that kind of going in. But first qualifier, I play well, and I think I take top 2 or 3 and qualify. And I just got off to a hot start my freshman year. My fall season, I placed top 15 in 3 out of the 4 events. And then Brandon Manchano, my roommate, who was my roommate for 3.5 years, he's playing well too. So like, we're kind of just feeding off each other. Like, just like, we're living together, we're practicing together all the time. And so that was kind of a big thing freshman year, I'd say, if you asked him as well. And then we got older guys like Ben Schlottman, Jacob Solomon, Jovan, and Trace Crow. So it was kind of the perfect deal. You got these older guys playing well, and then you got the new guys coming in, kind of bringing fresh energy. And we kind of just rode that all year, and we just played a very similar lineup the whole year and just had very good team chemistry. And we all just loved playing together and traveling together. So that really helped all year.
And then, like I said, then you go into 2018, and that was sort of like the special year with the SEC championship. You go deep in the NCAAs. Corey told us a story, and it was about you closing out the SEC championship match against Alabama. And I want you to walk us through, I really want you to walk us through where the dude doesn't give you the putt, and then kind of take us to the end.
No, I want the beginning. I want even the fact that he's the anchor guy. Like you, I mean, you're the young guy that is. They're throwing a lot of this on you, and then it even started out with fireworks. It sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, going into that week, I've had a good season. I was all SEC freshman team, so I had confidence, and I've always had a lot of confidence, and that's what you need in golf if you want to play well, I think. So coaches knew that, and that's why they were comfortable with putting me in that anchor spot. And I mean, honestly, I was like, well, if you guys play well, my point won't be needed, but I'll be there if you need me. That's kind of the deal. So, that's basically what the coaches saw, and that's what we went through with all week. And I guess I'll go towards that final match, right? You guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can skip all the rest of it. We just want to hear about the final match.
Yeah. So like the first 14 holes, like me and Jonathan Hardy, we're playing really good golf, solid golf, like under par, I'd say, around there, playing solid. And on 15, we have it's par 5. I hit it on in 2, and he's in trouble on the right side. I like my putt up there to like 4 feet for birdie, and he's putting for bogey, and he doesn't give it to me. And so me and my coach were just like, all right, what the heck? Like, this is kind of weird. So I finished, and that kind of like lit a little fire in me. I'm just like, all right, like I'm definitely not going to lose this match now. Like, I mean, like I got to prove that to him as well. 16, we tie with pars, and then 17, I'm 1 up going in that hole. I'm like, well, I mean, I just need a solid par here, right? And it's a tough hole. Birdie's not really in play unless you hit a really good iron shot. I mean, that kid hits one of the best iron shots I've ever seen under pressure, under the gun, and he almost holes it. I mean, people remember watching that.
Yeah.
I don't know how it didn't fall. So, I mean, seeing that as a competitor, I'm just like, okay, wow, well, here we go. We're all square going in 18. All my teammates are up there. They finished their matches. We're tied 2-2. Like, it's time to go. Like, this is it. So I was really pumped. I wasn't really nervous, as I was just really confident. I knew I was prepared. And I mean, even as a freshman, I knew I was prepared. And I think coaches and my teammates helped me feel prepared all season for that. So, but anyway, we both hit our drives, and that rule official comes up to us. And I don't know if this is like a normal thing to do, but rule officials come up to players and they go, all right, well, we got this playoff scenario. It'll go to hole 1 after this. And I'm just like, hey man, like we're in the middle of a death match here. Like, and first of all, there's not going to be a playoff necessary. Like, this is ending right here.
That's just could he hear it? Could your opponent hear it?
I mean, I didn't really like look to see if he was there, but I think he was probably like 15, 20 feet away. I don't know.
That is so strange. Like, hey, I know this is a very serious and very intense moment right now, but hey, let's take a second. We're going to have a rules quiz real quick. Like, what are we doing? Let them finish the match. We got plenty of time to talk about the playoff after.
That's the thing. It's like, it's not like y'all had to be anywhere. Like, could that conversation not have happened after you both putted out? Like, I don't understand what he was thinking.
And then, like, why would you want to tell two guys like, hey, when you guys tie, here it is? Like, no, like, let's just play it out and see what happens. Like, who's thinking about that?
And then, like, pulling the putter out, like, while your guys chipping, Kyle. Like,
okay. Yeah. So now I caddied at the Forum Tour, and I'm just trying not to lose things. And my guy's chipping around the fringe, and I pull the putter out so I can have it ready. And he's like, "Why are you pulling the putter out? I could have hold that. You gave up on me already." So that's an inside joke. I get it. We get it. Whatever. Yeah. Joke on me. So all right. So you're in the middle of the fairway. You tell the rules official, "Hey, shut up. Let me in. I'm going to end this thing right now. I don't care. I don't care if bro over there even hears it. I'm just going to go ahead and let him know it's coming." So, all right, all right. From there, tell us what happens.
Well, he hits his wedge shot short of the green. He's going to have an easy chip up. And then I hit my wedge shot to about, I don't know, 15, 20 feet. Kind of a downhill slider right to left. And I mean, honestly, now that I think about it, this is all kind of just a blur. Like, I mean, it all just happened. I mean, when you're in the zone, you're in the zone. You don't really think about anything else. And all I really knew was that putt is about a foot outside right, and it's fast. And so I just went through my normal routine, and I didn't treat it like anything else. I knew it was for the win, but I mean, I've had so many putts like this in my life for $5 or some other prize, whatever. But I hit that putt and it went in, and you guys know the rest. I mean,
what about the early walk?
When did you know it was going in?
When
How
did
quick
you? Because
pretty early.
This was pre-meme. Otherwise, you would be the Tiger meme that closed out at the President's Cup whenever he, basically they got him putting and walking over and shaking Ancer's hand off.
Yeah, but even goes in the hole.
That would have been that somebody's got to do that with you, because that's pretty much every time I tell the story, that's what it gets to. It's like, man, as soon as it left his putter, he turned around and started celebrating with his teammates.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those greens, that golf course that week, it's always so pure. And those greens, I mean, if you hit it on line and you have the right line, it's going to go in, like, most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I knew that about 3 feet out, it was kind of tracking outside the right edge. And I was like, yep, that's money. And I started kind of, I mean, it's just like, you've been doing that since you were a kid. You've been walking off putts like that, when you're playing with your friends. And I mean, it just happened to be on a big stage like that. And then, be able to celebrate my teammates and my coaches, like, well, I'll never forget that, and they'll never forget that. It's just a great experience for all of us. And I mean,
it was good.
It makes you really just happy about it now, even.
Yeah, for sure.
I told Corey this, that was on a Sunday, and we had member guests at AU Club that day, and we were like in between 9-hole rounds, and we were all watching on TV, and you made that putt, and we it was insane. The AU Club's never had a cheer like that before.
The pavilion was electric.
It's like all these guys who have played golf for the last 48 straight hours, basically all hammered, and we watched you make that putt, and everybody just went nuts.
It was electric.
That even makes it so much better. Like, I remember coaches telling us that, like, hey, there were hundreds of guys watching that putt go in, and they're cheering you guys on, and it's just really cool. Like, Auburn family really is a family. Yeah. And
I think we rolled tumors that weekend.
Oh yeah, all of Auburn was watching. I mean, I watched because that was earlier in the day. They show the replay on Golf Channel at night too. And so my wife, even when I'm watching it that night, she goes, I thought he made this. And I go, hold on, honey, you got to be quiet.
We got to watch it every
You
time.
gotta be-
It may not go in this time. No.
Gotta be quiet.
I'm telling her to be quiet when everybody knows what's happening.
Yeah,
So it was fantastic. It was
I
awesome.
rewatched that hundreds of times. So
For sure.
Hey, that's what you can tell, Nick. That's a great recruiting tool from here on out.
Yeah.
yeah,
Especially when they're choosing between here and the other school across the state. It's like, look, this is what can happen.
Right. That's awesome, man. So yeah, so y'all finish out your college career. What is the transition like to go from, all right, I'm done playing college golf, I'm done playing team golf. Now I'm going to do now I got to do my thing. So like walk us through that, like what you're doing now, how you got to change your mindset, this, that, and the other. You just said you've just moved back to Kansas, I believe. So tell us what's going on now and that whole deal. So we can kind of get to know more about what the
we get to know the
transition,
pro now.
I guess.
We don't know the college. We know the
Exactly.
pro.
absolutely. So yeah, I just finished last spring, and so my next step was play some Monday qualifiers in the summer and play some all pro tour events that were pretty close to me. I was able to travel and play. And so I played in those, try to earn some cash, try to get some Monday qualifying spots. And now it's just Q school mainly for a lot of guys, and kind of a lot of guys are on the same schedule right now. So
Gotcha.
just did pre-qualifying stage 2 weeks ago in Prattville, Alabama, and got through. And now I'm heading to Lincoln, Nebraska in about 10 days to play first stage. So
Sweet.
I'd honestly say the mindset is, I mean, from what I've experienced, it's you go from college to pro golf, it's basically back to junior golf again, but you're playing for money and more prestige. Like
Right.
You're
Everybody's better. Yeah.
No one's rooting for you. No one's really rooting against you. It's just you go make as many birdies as possible. And,
Right.
That's kind of what pro golf is at this stage. In many tours and Monday qualifying, you just got to make a bunch of birdies, and you can't make many bogeys. So
Is that something you're comfortable with? I mean, some people, you hear some pros that are, they get in the qualifying stage, and some of them like that team atmosphere. They kind of liked having that support staff around them. But then you hear some that they kind of like, they talk about it just like you do, where they say, it takes me back to the junior days of doing things. So it's not out of my comfort zone because I can do it.
yeah, I mean, team like college golf's good for some guys and bad for some guys. It's good for guys that need structure, need to know how to practice, just basically learn how to become a pro, because that's what we did at Auburn. Is our coaches prepared us for pro golf. Like basically what I do now, I basically do everything I did in college, but I don't have someone telling me to do it and when to do it, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I enjoy the pro golf aspect because I get to set my hours. I get to do what I want to do. I get to stretch however long I want. I get to practice, play however much I want. And I get to prepare at tournaments, play practice rounds. And basically it's all on me. And yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
That's awesome. So you have first stage is in Lincoln, Nebraska. And that is, I guess that would be the week of, that's next week, which would be the week
through the first.
The 28th through the 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it goes top 25, go to where next? The second stage.
There's a few stages, but I signed up for Dothan, Alabama.
Sweet.
Mhm.
Then there's one in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then I think there's one in Florida too. So that's just another stage, and you get
So do you mind me asking why you went first stage? Because I think first stage here is in Mobile, in Alabama. Why did you want to? Or did you have a film? I can't even say the word familiarity with the course in Lincoln, or what was the deal that made you want to go there for first stage?
Yeah, so before I signed up for my stages, I just went up to that course in Nebraska. It's a 4-hour drive, and played it. And I'm like, yeah, I like the course. Kind of went up to familiarize myself with it. And yeah, I mean, I've grown up on bent grass my whole life, and I went to college and learned how to play on Bermuda. And I mean, I don't really favor either one, but I'd say I'm probably better at bent grass. So that's kind of where I decided to go play my first stage.
Makes
Got it.
sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, there's small details around it. I mean, you can go really deep into that stuff, but either way, you just got to go golf your ball and shoot a good score. So
Exactly.
it doesn't really matter that much.
Right. All right. Last thing we want to talk about, what would you say is your favorite course that you've played either at Auburn, or like what's the best course that you've played, or your favorite top course that you played while you were there or now or before when you're in junior golf? What's the best course you've ever played in your opinion?
So just like junior golf, just kind of experiences, Prairie Dunes is up there. That's just because it's 45 minutes away from here. And it's just one of those courses that is just very prestigious. And I mean, everyone kind of knows about it. It's a Kansas kind of gem.
Right.
And I won a tournament there, that Big Eye. So that's kind of a place that's near and dear to my heart.
Sure.
And then at Auburn, we got to play so many cool courses. I mean, we're as student athletes, you're blessed at Auburn, and they just help you out. And I mean, it was just a great experience for me. And I mean, we're just so lucky as student athletes for what Auburn does. And I mean, we were able to go play Augusta National twice, Oakmont.
Wow.
Oakmont's definitely my favorite course I've played, and definitely the hardest too. That's kind of why. I think every hole out there is just its own little, there's not really holes that you get breaks out there. And I think it's just a really cool challenge. And, but yeah, at Auburn, you get to play a lot of cool courses, and that's kind of a cool recruiting deal as well. You get to play Augusta twice. So
yeah,
that's kind of,
I would say that's
another reason why I was like, yeah, I should probably go to Auburn. That's
Good
a really
selling
cool
point.
deal too, so, yeah.
How did you play at Augusta? How do you feel like you played there?
So I think I shot a few over my first round there. And like the first round you play, it's like you don't even really care to keep score, to be honest, because
Yeah.
you're out there and you feel like you're not even in real life. You feel like you're dreaming, and that was my first time even on property, because I've never been to the Masters. The second round I shot even par. Even, yeah. I shot like 3 over on the front and 3 under on the back. I tore Amen corner up, which was really cool.
Attaboy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
I'll always remember that. I mean, just playing with your best friends, your college buddies out there, really cool experience. And just thankful that Auburn was able to provide that for me.
That's awesome, man. Well,
Hey,
go ahead.
real quick, this is something we've talked about a little bit on the show, and I'm just curious, coming from someone at pro status, give me like what's the number that you love? Like, you hit a drive, you get on the fairway, you pull out your rangefinder, and like, what is a number that's just like, dude, there's no chance I stick this outside of 3 feet? What's that number for you?
Oh man, I mean,
give me specific now. I want it down to the yard.
like 84.
84.
84, yeah.
84.
That's just one of those comfortable 60 degrees that you can just kind of, it's not really that smooth, but like you can definitely, it's not hitting it too hard, but it's definitely hitting it. And then it's just perfect amount of spin. It's not going to overspin,
It's going to suck back a little. Yeah.
Oh no, I love seeing anything under about 160 yards personally. I think that's kind of the scoring zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Sense.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for taking time. We wish you a ton of luck, and we'll be following you through your stages next week in Lincoln, Nebraska, and hopefully you'll get down to Dothan, and maybe you can swing through Auburn, and we can maybe we could go chase the ball around at AU Club if you come through. That'd be fun.
We can kill your confidence. You can see a bunch of guys hit a bunch of balls in the woods. How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, I have plenty of there in AU Club too, so don't you worry.
Yeah, there you go.
I may have found a few of yours. I'm not sure.
There's plenty of opportunities for it out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, dude,
thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Thanks again. And we'll stay in touch, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, good luck in Nebraska, Wells.
Good luck, brother.
Knock 'em dead.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Thanks, dude. All right, bye.
Yeah.